Okay, well, it's 10:03 here on the West Coast, so let's get started. Thanks everyone for joining. Yes, this recording this is being recorded and will be shared out later. Again, just a reminder on housekeeping. There's a Q&A section there, which is great for specific questions. We'll be monitoring that, and we'll have time for Q&A at the end where we'll be going through that queue also. But yeah, welcome to using Builders GenUI with your design system. And we had a similar live stream last month. And what that live stream was how to use Gen AI to build a design system. This is a bit of a continuation off of that, which is to say, now that we do have a design system, how can we actually use AI and use Builders AI to build using that, right? We don't want to make generic things. We want to make things that fit with our design system. My name is Nick Nessel. I'm a solutions engineer here at Builder. And I'm based in San Diego, so it's 10 a.m. for me. It's great to chat to everyone. My coffee is like hitting perfect right now, so I'm gonna have a lot of energy for you all, and I'm excited to be chatting. Just kind of the agenda for you. We're gonna go through, what are different prompts and strategies of how do we talk to the AI to make sure that it kind of uses our design system, specific patterns that can be used. How can we standardize across multiple teams and products? And I think that number three is a really important one where we have a lot of different teams in our organizations. It's not just engineers, or it's not just designers, or it's not just product managers. We want everyone to be working in one place, right? And so how can we standardize in one tool and one way of working? And of course, we'll save a bunch of time for Q&A. Most of this is going to be a demo. We do just have a little bit of setup just to introduce the topic and kind of why we're here at Builder. And so of course, like, this is probably pretty familiar to folks. We have a lot of siloed tools right now. There's ideas that are maybe managed in Jira or something like that. There's design that's managed in Figma. Then there's a ton of different coding tools and things like that as well. And they're all kind of disconnected. They all have AI built into them, which is great. But what it does is it still kind of forces people into those silos. It's like all of these different AI-enabled silos. And what that does is, it leads to folks kind of being in all different roles in our organization, just a little unsatisfied, right? The roadmap is overflowing. You can't move fast enough. Nobody likes red lines. Shipping, we're not doing fast enough. And the end result, right, is that, the end user, your end customer, kind of gets a product that they wish could be a little bit better. And so that's a problem we're trying to solve here today. What we're really trying to do is unify that ideation, that design, that coding, and the shipping. Can we unify all of that into one platform, into one Gen UI? And that's what we'll walk through today, is kind of how builders take on it. And also just generally, maybe not necessarily for Builder, but any UI platform or AI platform that you're using, some just general strategies that are going to help there as well. So what we're going to do, and again, if you saw last week's live stream or last month's live stream, excuse me, this is kind of the problem. We're going to continue off of that one here. So I do encourage you to kind of go back and look at that one for the setup if you don't already have a design system that you're plugging into. But we're going to use Vimeo, which is one of our partners, and as kind of the design system example. And this is the key problem, right? We have an established brand. It's a very strong brand and design system. If you ask AI to generate something for you, it's going to be pretty generic, right? It's going to be accurate. It will be the thing that you ask it to build, but it's not necessarily going to be, in this case, Vimeo's thing, right? What we want to do, what we want is for when we ask the AI to build us something, we want it to be ours. We want it to be integrated into that design system that we've already built and are using. And so there's going to be four themes throughout this demo that we're going to talk about. The left-hand side, and my role at Builder is in the pre-sales organization. So I'm talking to customers like almost every day. And I think we spend a lot of time when I'm talking to customers on what's on the left-hand side, and which is super, super important. Moving faster, being more efficient, right? Can we get prototypes faster to life? Can we start with something that's maybe not even a prototype, like a PRD, and can we build that faster and more efficiently? We're going to talk a lot about that. But what I'm really excited about, and kind of my own personal passion, is I think it's really important that we don't lose sight of what's on the right side, which is we're not just going to be more efficient when we're using these AI tools. We need to remember that we could use it to be better, right? To bring more joy, to create a better product for all of those things that you wouldn't normally get to just because you're so focused on just getting the MVP out the door, right? Clearing out that backlog, adding that 20% of, as Marie Kondo would say, is bringing that joy. So we'll walk through all of these and we'll see some good examples. And so without further ado, let's jump in, and we've got a good example for us here. We'll get hands-on. And the example we're going to use is we are Vimeo. And again, just as a recap from last time, this is a prompt that we focused a lot on last time, is how to build your design system. The starting point that we're at today is we've already gone through that process and established a design system. But this is a little tease from the last one. This is the prompt that we used to generate our Vimeo design system. I will say this is not exactly Vimeo's. What we did was we just asked the AI to use inspiration from it to make it look like it. What we've built is all based on Material UI as well. But this was our starting point before. But our starting point now is going to be from a PRD. And the example that we're going to take is we are Vimeo. We're hosting this great new Vimeo conference. And the first thing we need to do is we need to create a new conference app. So when people attend our conference, they can go through and they could actually see what sessions there are, see what attendees there are. And the way that I generated this, I think it's not sharing here, but we're going to switch over now into the actual product. Our starting point here is a PRD document. So we know we need this app for conference attendees. I was actually going to remove the ChatGPT from the top and take credit, but I think this is one of our first examples of, you don't need to just use Builder AI. What I first did was I asked ChatGPT, create a PRD for a conference that I have, include all the normal stuff. And as we scroll through this, you can see, what's in scope. We need authentication. We need it to be mobile responsive. Just, pretty high level PRD doc. ChatGPT actually made this a 9-page doc, and I asked it to make it a 3-page doc. But, this is pretty bare bones. And this is going to be our starting point. And so let's get in and let's actually build this just using this as a starting point. And that's kind of, the first lesson that I want us to take away from this is that we don't necessarily need to be super, super verbose because we're already working within our design system. All of those design things have already been sorted out. So let's just get started. So this is our Builder visual building interface. I'm going to go ahead and attach that PRD file. There's our conference portal that we were just looking at. And I've already got, just to make you guys not suffer watching me type and get all my typos in there, I've already got a bunch of prompts that I'll be pasting in. And all I'm doing is I'm saying there's a conference coming up. These are the dates. Here's the PRD. I'm asking it to ignore the authentication prompt for now and just some notes about having a dark and light mode. So, this is our starting point. And I think, with all AI tools, not just Builder, it's important from a mindset point of view of, we can really shift the bar of like, where are we even beginning? How much effort do we have to do up front to get to that prototype stage really quickly? And this is a great example of, let's just get these ideas down, throw it into Builder, and let it start going. You can see on the left, our Builder is an agentic model. The first step is kind of reasoning and thinking about what it needs to do. This is quite a big chunk that we've given it. And so I apologize on the format here today. This is very fast on development timescales. On live stream timescales, it's not quite fast enough that I want us to just sit here and watch this run. It's going to take probably 2 or 3 minutes. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to get a couple of these kicked off at the same time. I'm going to try really hard to make sure we stay oriented on which one we're looking at. But let's let this run and let's think about the next example while this is running. So, this is new development and new ideation. The second piece that we might have is, that's great that now that we're not going to have to spend as much time building out that conference dashboard, we could think a little bit more about what's in our backlog and what are those things that have been bothering us forever that we've just never had the time. And if we look at those top 2, that's what we're going to focus on here today. And we're going to start on this support page one. So we have had it in this backlog in this example to modernize our support page for a really long time. And it's just never been something that we could prioritize. It's been in the backlog. We hate it. Everyone probably has one of these pages on your site or in your app. And if you look at this example support page, it's awful, right? It's get additional support. We're still asking people to, call an international number for support. There's no ticketing on here or anything like that. It's just really like, I would prefer not to look at this. But again, it's working for us and we haven't prioritized it. With Builder AI, all of these things in the backlog that normally would take a bunch of time, maybe we could just do this ourselves. And you could think of, in this instance, maybe I'm a product manager or a designer, or maybe I'm even an engineer that's just been asked to like modernize this, right? And so the first thing that I'm going to want to do is some basic things. I'm going to switch into design mode here and get a little visual editing as well. International support doesn't make any sense for us to have. I'm going to go ahead and delete that international support ticket. I don't think we need enterprise sales information here in our email, so let's delete those. So we'll keep email support and we'll keep call support and we'll apply those visual changes. So I did a little visual editing there. Didn't want to have to type out to delete those, although I could. And Builder is going to enable me to quickly do some quick visual edits. And then when I apply, what's actually happening here is it's generating the code and it's updating the code base here, so that those visual changes that I just made are reflected now in the code. This will run for a second. I'm going to wait one moment. I think this one might be pretty quick. Yeah. So this one finished and you can see it's just going around and summarizing what it's done. So that's great. We've done kind of some basic stuff of removed what we wanted, but what would be really great is we need a modern view here. We need a modern ticketing system. And so what I'd like to do is take one of my prepared prompts again, and I'm going to ask Builder here to add a table to this support page that follows the styles and the table examples that I already have, right? So we do have a design system and I'm telling it, use a specific table that I know I like. And the table should show open support tickets. By the way, let's make a way for people to be able to create those tickets also. And so in this instance now, I've done some kind of visual editing, and now I'm kind of setting it off again on a prompts here to go ahead and add some new modern things here. And again, like I didn't have to go in and build a whole new Figma design or anything like that, although we'll get to that in a second. But we'll let this get going and running. Let's check in on our conference website. So I've flipped back tabs. I'm going to try to remember to keep letting you all know when I flip tabs. I'm back at the conference portal that I've asked it to build, and you can see it's busy working, building out all the components and attendee directories that's needed. This is a really great example. We're seeing errors fly, but we don't need to worry. It's fixing it itself. If it runs into any roadblocks, it's going to let us know. So we'll let that keep running a little bit more. And I'm going to now switch to our third example, which is this one, implementing carousels across our site and our backlog. And so let's get back into Builder. I'm going to open up one more new tab. So now we're here when we're looking at our resources page. And what I'm looking at, if I go down to the bottom, I've left intentionally some other kind of formatting opportunities we could fix if we have time during this, but down at the bottom of this page has been a thing that's been bothering us for a while. It's kind of two almost like throwaway CTAs here. There's a stay updated, there's a ready to start optimizing. We'd like to modernize this and actually unify the look and feel as well. And so what I'd like to do here is get these things looking a little bit more standard, and then I want to put them in a carousel, right? So again, this is kind of that 20% of like, we could make this, we think it's going to make our website better. It's almost never been a priority for us to spend the time to prioritize this type of change for our dev team. But with Builder, I can do this myself as a designer or product manager. And here we're going to focus just on styling, not on building something new. So I could ask it here, make this element the same styling as the stay updated above it. Look and feel. I apologize. I can't talk and type at the same time. And so what I'm asking it to do here, and this is kind of another just general best practices when working with AI tools, is I'm not actually building anything new, but you can think of styling and you can think of design tokens and those things as its own type of configuration and its own type of data. And so even though I'm not actually changing anything, I want a different style here. And most of the AI tools and Builder especially is really primed to be thinking about what are your styles, what are your design system, and being able to make these types of kind of visual changes as well to modernize. So let's let this keep running. This one will probably be a little bit quicker, and then what we'll do is we're going to come back and put that into a carousel. And actually looks like maybe it's done already. Yeah, so that was a quick one here. So what's nice here is now I have two very similar looking pieces, and what I want to pull in now, I'm a designer and I've been making some new, and if it's a carousel, maybe I want more than just one thing. This is where if I've already done some development within Figma, I've already been mocking up a few more pieces, a few more slides for this carousel. And again, we have this conference coming, so let's go ahead and use our Builder Figma plugin to select this other slide. Let's do a quick copy so we get it to the clipboard here, and then we can come in and ask Builder to create this carousel. So I've instructed it to do those two things, and then also add this Figma, and I'll just paste that Figma in as a third slide. And we'll run that. So this is going to take a few more moments. We do have a carousel component already there, which Builder is going to go out and find in our design system. And it's going to go ahead and combine these three into its own carousel. All right, raising my hand, I'm going to switch tabs. We're going to go back to our support site now. This was the one where we had asked to create that new support ticket table. And looks like it's done. It's built a table in our styles. It looks pretty good. We can see our tickets. Looks like it's built in some commenting functionality, which didn't enable it, but it built it there. We could ask that to do next. The other piece we'd asked it was to go ahead and build us a new ticket functionality here. And so already built in, there's a new ticket functionality. I can see a little error came here. We'll address that in a moment. I could look at it if I want. I can tell you it almost never makes sense to me what these errors say, but it doesn't really matter. We can just click fix and Builder's going to fix it for us. But before I hit that button, let's look at the rest of what's been built. We may want to do a few other things. So I can see there's this priority field, for instance. I don't need that priority field. Guess what? Everyone that submits a ticket is always saying that their priority is high, so it's not really super useful for me. So let's go ahead and ask Builder to fix the error that's in the console and also remove the priority from the ticket submission form. So we'll let that run, but really quickly it got us to a good spot there, and we'll let it fix that error and run. Let's check back in on our conference. Another good example. There's some kind of error here that when it was building, no problem. Let's click, go ahead and fix that error and let it keep running. Okay, so popping back over, I'm on our resources tab. This is where we were asking it to build us that carousel. And again, I'm just going to pause. I'm very conscious I'm flipping through a lot of tabs here, and I don't want to lose you. And so just letting you know, right, I'm going to keep calling out where we are. I just don't want us to have to sit there and watch the AI turn away. But here we have that resources tab where we asked it again to incorporate that Figma design and build this this carousel. And now we can see we've got this nice carousel built. Here it is. Join us in San Diego, register for our conference. Could be that now I want to do a little bit of visual design here as well. Now that I'm super happy with my carousel, maybe I want to drag it up the page and get it to the top up here. Ooh. I think I'll do it with the layers. Might be a little bit easier here. Yeah, we've got our layers menu here. We can drag that up the page. It's more important, so let's put it more towards the top. We can do all those changes as well. Cool. So that's running. I'm applying those visual changes, and our conference PRD is still churning away. This is kind of expected, right? We asked it to do a lot. It's going to take a couple minutes, so I'll keep checking back in on it. Now we've got our new ticket. That priority's gone. We've got our subject, description, and category. Looks really great. I'm just going to pause here. We've got a few more pieces that are coming up that I want to walk through, but I'll just give a pause and see if there's any questions here in the Q&A that I can see. I'm seeing some questions in the Q&A around how we train on your design system, right? And that's what we've struggled with in the past. And so that's a really good question. And I think it is important to think about under the hood exactly what Builder is doing here. We're not necessarily what you would call training on your design system. So, we're not like teaching a model about your tool. The AI models that we use basically are smart enough to understand how to agentically go out and find the context that's needed based on the thing that you're asking it to do. So when you ask it to make a change, what it's doing is you can see in some of the thought processes as it's flipping by, saying, okay, well, the first thing I need to do is find the files that are interesting or find examples for it. So there isn't any of that initial training set up. It is an agentic approach where in real time it's going to find, the things that it's needed to do to fix it. Um, Let's pop back over now to our new conference portal. So it looks like this is done. It's done a bunch of things, created a dashboard, created sessions, created attendees, and it put it at the /conference URL. So let's go have a look and see how it did. Oh boy, what happened? Oh, I put dashboard there. Let's try conference. It's redirecting me. Let's see. I'll just tell it. Getting a 404 and I go to conference. Let's see what the issue is. It might have told me a different URL to go to up here. I don't know if I specified it. Should load there. We'll let it check. While that's running, it's checking. And again, what's nice is I don't really understand what's going on, but I can just tell it what's happening, and that's what's happening, and it'll fix it. I'm going to take us through another example here while that's running. And the reason why I like this example is I think this is like, okay, we've got an interruption, right? I just got a Slack from Joe. Joe is our product marketing manager here, and she's actually running the conference for us. And she's just sent me this very nice Slack. Actually, sorry, I forgot. We actually need some kind of internal portal to manage these registrations. There's all these people signing up, and we don't have a way to manage it. We kind of forgot to do it, but like, can you do it quickly? I don't even really care what it looks like. And so why I really like this example is, what we've been building so far has been user facing. End user needs to be really polished, needs to be in this really established design system that we've built. But lots of companies really do have these other use cases where there's either internal tools or you've got like a legacy design system that doesn't, correspond at all to what you've done in the past. And that's kind of what we have here at our company called Three Ring is we have a whole bunch of internal tools, and we've built all of those internal tools on the AWS Cloudscape design system. And what that means is, we use that because we're an AWS shop, and when we're building things quick and dirty, we find that this AWS design system has lots and lots of things that are useful for us. It's just not very pretty, so we don't kind of use it to build public-facing things. But for this is a perfect example. I can go and take Joe's message and go ahead and paste it in here. We have a conference coming up. My team needs this internal tool. The dashboard should show kind of the status of folks, the things. I've put a little bit of additional information for it, but let's ask it to build that here. So we're connected to a totally different project repo here. We're connected to a different design system here, but it's still one company. It's still the same folks using it. We're just switching context and letting Builder kind of understand and discover, what's necessary here. And so that gets to that initial question that was asked previously of, how do we index and train on your design system? This is a really good example of I've asked it a new question just in a different context here. And the AI is going to go out and discover the context that's necessary here in real time as we ask that question. It is a little fun to see what it's thinking about. You can see it is breaking this down into additional steps. Let me first examine the current page. Let me check, all the different routing. And now once it feels like it has the context that it needs, now it jumps into that second agentic part where it's actually going to start going and building out, the processes that it needs. Let's see if we can get back. Let's see if we can get our conference working here. Okay, the conference portal works. And what is it telling me? Okay, it's just asking me, yes, that works. Now make the portal there. Okay, we'll give it one more minute on that, and we'll give it another minute here. Um, let's go and have a look at a few more questions for the builder team. If you see anything that jumps out that's interesting to answer, go ahead and give me a shout and let me know. But let's look. I see there's a question from Derek just in the chat. Is the MUI customized to look like AWS Cloudscape, or is that the package itself? So yeah, so what we're showing here in this Cloudscape design system, this is Cloudscape. This is not MUI. The other one that we were using was MUI design system that we asked it to make it look and feel like the Vimeo website. So it built design tokens and things that way. But for this example here, this Cloudscape, this is just pure Cloudscape, not MUI. Looking at, yeah, is the code generated specific to different frameworks, React, Angular, etc.? Yes, we do plug into whichever frameworks you want. And these examples are all React because that seems to be the most popular. But Builder does support kind of all those other pieces as well. I'm seeing questions about, can you go deeper about rolling back to previous versions? In my experience, prompting is fine, but it's hard to revert if the prompt does not result in the desired change. Yeah, so there's kind of two pieces there on reverting, and it's a good question because, the AI doesn't always get it right, as you could see even on that conference portal I was asking it to build. There's a few things here within Builder. There is the undo button here. There's the dislike if you don't want to necessarily undo it, but you want to send us some feedback. I think, most LLM tools as well allow you to scroll back and revert to any point throughout that conversation also. And the last piece there, which I think is good to comment on as well, is that none of these changes are actually being implemented live. And by live, I mean like pushed to production. They are being implemented in the code, but they're being implemented in a branch of your code. And I think that's a really, really important piece that, comes up a lot when I talk to folks as well, is that I'm really, really nervous here, right? You're telling me my designer is going to go make code changes, which sounds great, but also sounds kind of scary. And what I want to point out is this is all hooked into, whatever version control you may have as well. And so any of these changes that are made, they're still going to need to get pushed and approved by a developer. It's just what happens is those developers, when they get these change requests from your designers and your design team, the idea is that they're going to be very, very close to production ready, right? Those pull requests are going to be is where that time's going to be saved. But we definitely don't want to cut the human completely out of the loop there. We definitely want to see, everything working well. Um, cool. So that was perfect timing. It looks like our admin page has just finished up. And so it actually was nice enough to build this conference admin link for me here on the page. Let's go ahead and dig in and see how my administration portal looks. And so again, like I personally feel like this is rather ugly, but this is on the Cloudscape design system, and it's a very utilitarian design system designed to like do management type interfaces. And so again, this isn't for front end, but it's done everything we've asked it to do. It's showing me how many people we have registered, the total tickets. Looks like I've got an add registrant form that I could use, select all the tiers that I had mentioned. Wonder, did it, yeah, even put in some form validation for me here as well. So internal tools, this is a really, really strong use case. And I think like where a lot of the customers that I talk to is a good place to start if you are maybe a little nervous about like going full bore, right? There's a little bit lower stakes as you're implementing, and it's a great place to start testing out kind of all the LLM tools on internal tools, because that scary UI piece doesn't quite apply as much, but you can see it did really great here for us, and probably we could build in some bells and whistles there as well. Let's go check our conference page, and all right, looks like it did work. It fixed itself. So pretty happy with what turned out here. It built in a few things. I'm noticing at the top, because we do have like a light and dark mode in our design system. And so this is always fun. I've asked it to kind of always build in light and dark modes for us on portals like this. And that's kind of just in the permanent instructions that I've given it. But this looks pretty good. We've got what sessions I've been registered to. I can navigate to those sessions and see I love it actually creates the content for me as well. Obviously, we would want to pipe this data in from any internal APIs you may have, which is pretty straightforward to do as well. And if we look at the attendees, it actually gives us the ability to, connect with attendees, which is really great. Um, I've noticed in the past, I'm going to see what happens if I click the LinkedIn. So um, I apologize to Anna Kowalski. I'm not sure who Anna is, but it decided that this was going to be the example we used on this one for LinkedIn, but it's even kind of integrating out to public websites and things like that as well, which is really fun. Now, I'm pretty happy with this, and this is the place where I want to pause because like this is kind of my passion, and this is around that bring joy piece, right? So this is great. We've built this conference website. I'm sure we can, go in and ask it to tweak things, but now the question is like that took us a lot less time. Can we make it better? Can we bring more joy to this? Can we add all of those fun bells and whistles that takes this from like, yes, this is a functioning conference website to this is a website that people really enjoy and like really fits our brand well and makes people just enjoy using it. And so as a quick example that I might want to put because I think it's a good example is what about the weather forecast? I was just at the Figma conference. What was that, last month? And San Francisco, I never know what's going to happen with the weather. Or maybe you do know it's going to be cold and rainy. And so it would have been really nice if I could have had the weather go in there. And so let's go ahead and add the weather so people that are at our conference can see what it's going to be like. And what I want to point out here in the prompt is I'm telling it to use the Open Medio API. And so that's a public API that provides weather data. And so I'm telling it, go out, find that public API, connect into it, and let's add a weather ribbon here for it. And so again, this is like the type of thing probably you would never build into an app like this because this is probably a 3 sprint type of effort for you to do. And we just wouldn't have the time. But for here, we could go in, we could connect to that public API, and that happened really fast. I was surprised how fast that one went. But you can see at the top now, we've got our great weather navigation here, which is great. And it's hitting that Open Media API, even using some nice icons and things like that for us as well. So that was really fun. APIs are a thing that folks usually do ask about at this stage as well. And the answer is like, yes, we can connect to any of your internal APIs. You can see here, we're also connecting to public APIs, and that's a really important piece. What Builder is not going to necessarily do that backend work for you if you need to make a change to your API, but once your backend APIs have been built, we're going to connect into them. Just feed it documentation or whatever it happens to be, and we'll be good to go on that one as well. Let's see. I'm checking my tabs. Did we complete all our tasks? Yeah, we've got our support. We've got our new ticket. Probably I'd want to delete those out. We've got our nice carousel here that was built. Let's see, what did we do here? Oh, we could build a landing page. Maybe we'll do that in a second. And then, yeah, we've got our conference registration. So again, to recap what we did here, right? We did a lot. This was 36 minutes. We've built a whole conference website. We've built this administration interface and a totally different design system here. And then we've made some kind of backlog tweaks that has really been bothering us for a long time. So pretty cool, pretty great. Like obviously, like this is the starting point. This is the prototypes. Probably in the real world, you're going to spend maybe another hour or two really tweaking this, putting your own flavor on it as well. But gosh, this got us really far really quickly, and it's really exciting. Let's have a look. Let me just check out what kind of other Q&As we have in here. And again, for the Builder team, anything that jumps out to you, go ahead and shout out to me also. I do see a question here. So just generally questions about which LLMs and which models to use. We find that Claude, especially for coding right now, the Claude models are the most effective. And what they're really most effective for is that reasoning and an agentic approach. So not just built writing code, but thinking through and breaking down the problems of like, if you're asking me to do this, here's the 4 steps I need to take. The models like ChatGPT are really good, especially if it's a lot of conversation and things like that. They're really good at kind of making surgical edits and auto completion and things like that. But that probably changes every day as well. So we keep monitoring it, and as models change, we would change as well. Um, Got a question around mobile responsiveness. That's a really good question. I meant to touch on that earlier in the demo as well. We can go through and we can kind of see how this is. And this is a good example. So as we're building, we want responsiveness. And I can see like here on mobile, that didn't get as responsive as I would want it, but we can always just switch to that mobile mode and ask ChatGPT or gosh, sorry, ask Builder to make that responsiveness. So we could see on mobile, those cards aren't stacking. Maybe what we'd want to do is select these cards and say, make these cards stack on mobile. Generally make this page responsive. And, again, this is kind of an example, like typically if we were creating from scratch, that responsiveness would be built in, but, this is a page that we've kind of intentionally like neglected for a long time. So some of these changes we want to have Builder do for us. I saw some questions around Figma best practices, and yeah, so Figma is an amazing design tool. We love Figma. We connect into it well. Generally, when you're building in Figma, uh, what works best for not just Builder, but any AI tool is using auto layout as much as possible. Auto layout, just really helps to make things a little bit more precise when we're doing that conversion. And then reusable components. So it's not strictly required to be using reusable components. If you don't have a component, as you saw in here, as you saw in this demo, like Builder's going to be able to go and search and find what components match most closely to it. But a really great best practice, a lot of folks do have your design system already really well established within Figma and already really well established within your code. And so as a best practice is if you are in that state, using those components here in Figma, then that gets a really tight one-to-one mapping with your components within Builder, and everything just comes through a lot quicker as well. So, those are kind of the two general things, but really if you build it, we can generally pull it in and work with it and do some auto mapping to your components as well. Finding all my tabs. Where did my support page go? Can't find it. Let's see, looking for a few other questions here. I do see a question about how do these tools interact with GitHub Copilot or Cursor and IDEs. Um, we do have support as well for like VS Code and other IDEs. This is one good piece that I did want to point out is we do have an integration here with GitHub is what's happening here. And so we did mention kind of how do you revert changes? How do you have that confidence that what gets built is going to be right? Well, that's through our pull requests here. So, we made this carousel change here. If I send that pull request to GitHub, this is where we are able to integrate in with your version control system, and we're going to go ahead and create the pull request. It's busy generating a human readable description of what was happening, but you could see the kind of atomic commits that it made. We asked it to do a few different things, right? We asked it to create this carousel. We updated the styling on that stay updated section. And it's kind of built these commits. It's given us a good description of it. And when we look at what actually got changed, I think this is an important piece as well, is we're not just kind of like deleting everything and starting over from scratch. We're just doing kind of diff changes on only the parts that's necessary. So here you can see that Vimeo carousel was built. We have the different slides in it. You see we removed the old one there. And this is MUI, so you can see kind of the inline styling that's being used. We're following that. But what I always like to point out, there's not really a div in sight on this page. We're avoiding that div soup. We're doing good clean code here. And so when our developers have a look at this, there's usually typically not much to do. all of our components are being used here. We're importing them appropriately as well. Just looking through a few more questions. Go ahead and keep sending them into the chat as well. I see a question there. Can you talk about how you got your component library into Builder and how you get final design out to engineering? Yeah, it's a good question, and I think it is important to kind of drive home this point of is that we basically integrated into the repository. So we're just pointing at your existing code repository here. And if we go into the code tab, you can see, we are running in that context. We've got some good rules that we've made. This is a good example. We do want to have some permanent context. Contrast is super important on the Vimeo site. So we've given it some very specific rules here about making sure when you're building things in this project that you follow these exact rules. That's optional, but over time it's tweaked. And I'll say this is another really fun best practice here. This file here around contrast rules, this was also generated by the AI. When I first created my project and I was first creating this, I was getting some bad contrast. And so I kind of just asked the AI, like, hey, I'm tired of asking you to correct the contrast. Can you just fix my design system in general so that won't happen? And then also make a set of rules for me that I can tell you later to remind you of what to follow. And so this was really fun. I don't know how to build a design system personally. I mean, I know how design tokens work, but I couldn't build it. But I can ask Builder to build it, and I can ask Builder to make sure it writes its own rules so it builds it itself, and builds it properly the next time as well. So we do have that full kind of interactivity there to your code base also, and the full access there. I've seen questions about Storybook. Yeah, we can point to Storybook. All of that context is really important, right? So if you do have other repositories or other pieces that you want to see, if there's just repositories that have components, if there's Storybook documentation, you can point to that as context. And again, because of the LLMs that we're using that are kind of context aware and agentic, it's going to understand where to look depending on the question that you're asking it to do. I do see, just running through a few more questions. I think we have time for one or two more. Seeing a question here of what if I already have an MUI design system in my production application and I want to rework it, introducing new design system based on the one I have with adjustments? Will it be capable of adjusting my existing React components to apply new design system or recreate all from scratch? That's a really good question. I think it's a good question at a high level to just generally answer in the context of how the AIs and the LLMs work. You could certainly ask, here's my whole repo, go through and convert every single component to this whole new design system or new framework. That I think it'll work, it'll run for a while. That can tend to be a tall task sometimes. And so I think that's where it's good to maybe break it down into smaller pieces. To say like, hey, our overall goal is we're going to want to convert all the way over to this other design system. Let's start with the design tokens. Can you make me a new set of design tokens that mirror what already exists? And we're going to use that, to update these components next. Go through that, make sure your design tokens work, and then say, great, let's run a test and focus on just the components that are maybe on this page. All the components here, this subset, can you update them to use my new design system? And so what I find is you could say, do everything at once, and it'll do a good job usually, but if it runs into errors, it's going to be a little bit hard to like figure out exactly where it's went wrong. And so just the way that, you would kind of break out like a large project like that normally, you can do that here, with the AI and just maybe break it out and do a couple steps so you can, test and debug along the way. You think of it as, you're partnering with the AI to do that, and you want to understand what it's doing just as much as you want it to just, do it for you yourself. Let's see. So I think we're getting a little close to time here. Seeing a few questions about Storybook. I'm glad I answered that one. Um, so yeah, I think we can probably wrap up here. I just want to kind of recap a little bit what we did. Um, did I lose? Oh, here we go. There's Joe yelling at me again. Um, So again, I think like the high level takeaway here is what we're trying to do is really this concept, right? Can we have everyone build with AI, but can we do it in a place where everyone's working on one side, right? We don't want to have like the marketers and designers on the left and the developers on the right. We need one place where people that think in pictures, people that think in design can still think and work that way. People that think in code, people that think in algorithms can still think and work that way. But you don't have to go through this translation effort, right? Can we have both of those things in one tool? And that's really what we're trying to do here with our philosophy of how we're applying AI at Builder. Um, Definitely have to do a little plug, right? Go ahead, you can sign up for a free account and try this stuff out. It's exciting. You can scan that code there. And yeah, definitely reach out. Let us know if you're interested. We're here and excited for y'all to get started. And thanks everyone. That'll conclude.